Generation 10 is right around the corner, and considering I have a track record of accurate predictions, it is time for me to shine. Back in 2018, I started to make a Spain region, and my starters were a grass-type cat and a water-type duck and a fire shrew, but that wasn't accurate, so we don't talk about that one. That prediction was truly godlike, but unfortunately no one was really around to witness my prophecy. But then time went on, and I made this channel to start getting back into Fakemon. Oh my god. What? So somehow I've still been able to predict new Pokemon with a lot of accuracy, scary amounts of accuracy. I seriously don't know how I've been able to do that. So this week, in this here bonus video, I am going to predict the starters of the 10th generation of Pokemon. Before we start, don't forget to subscribe to my channel. I see you in my stats, unsubscribed viewers. I'm trying to get to 100 million subscribers. You know, keeping it realistic. Okay, sorry, let's draw. For my grass type starter, I just want to make a red panda Pokemon. I think they're very cute guys and would probably work really well for a starter. Perhaps considering it is a red panda, it might be better suited as a fire type starter, but I like the risk and challenge that comes with making it a grass type. And I also have an idea for the fire type, so it's not happening, I'm so sorry. Now, I do want to have an image of all the previous grass starters so that I don't lose touch with what makes a starter look like a starter. I somehow had a lot of trouble finding a collage of them all that wasn't someone's original artwork, but I did find this. No pressure or anything. My first idea was to have it be a quadruped, which isn't the most common design choice for a grass type starter, or starter in general really. I wanted to replicate the pose of my photo reference panda, but it really wasn't working. I tried it a few different ways, but ultimately I kind of just put that idea to rest and moved on. I kind of just focused on the head and face to begin my design, but even then, I really wasn't feeling it. I did actually have a horrible feeling that I just wasn't going to be able to complete this design and the whole video would be doomed, but then I eventually pulled it together after a long, hard pep talk with myself. Pep talk being 3 hours of doom scrolling and a Red Bull, of course. Not sponsored, but if Red Bull, if you want to sponsor me. Attempt 3 is when I started to see results. Burning my retinas with hours of reels has proven to be the true remedy to art block. Don't take any of this seriously. It was actually 4 hours. I gave my panda pants. It's very cute. Agree? Like if you agree. I tinkered around with the posing until I sort of got the stepping forward pose, which really worked. I then worked on the head. Starters generally have big heads, which makes sense. It does help them look small enough to be a first stage, but also distinct enough from other random first stage Pokemon. They tend to have a lot more going on, or at least they just have one or two really striking design elements not seen in other Pokemon. They're pretty difficult to make, if I'm being honest, because there's just such a delicate balance between not having it look too generic, but then also not having it be so complicated, because the design should be somewhat simple, but then of course you gotta make it totally unique and it also has to have a personality. But to make them distinct, they can't be overly friendly, but they also have to be approachable as a starter option. Oh my god, I can see why they take years off from making these Pokemon. It sounds like a real headache. A headache that I want though. Game Freak, give me a call, I'll be honored to work with you. I gave it some chunky claws and paw pads and a bushy tail, which I honestly almost forgot to draw in. Whoops. For the face, I don't want it to be too cutesy. I think this should be a slightly clumsy Pokemon with an affinity for psychic powers. Subtle foreshadowing for its potential evolution. Ooh. So anyways, I gave it this sort of derpy look because I just thought it would be cute. I then moved on to the color, which initially started incredibly green with very minimal reds and yellows, but then I figured it just didn't look quite right. Like, it has these really interesting chunks of design, but they all get muddled by being the same color. So I added some accent colors to help break the colors apart, sort of. I also gave it a red face and a brown belly. I know that it is a risk for sure to have red so prominently on a grass type starter, but I think I can get away with it. I don't know, let me know in the comments if it works or not. I trust your judgment. Now it is time for the fire type starter, which I think would be super interesting to base on a dragonfly. This one in particular is called a Crimson Marsh Glider, and I found it after searching red dragonfly. Yep, New Zealand has a ton of dragonflies, especially around this time of year, so I figured it would make for an interesting starter Pokemon. Now, I don't know if we specifically have these types of dragonflies, but I don't think I've ever seen one in my life, so I'm just gonna say no. But also my color blindness affects my ability to see the color red, so I might also say yes. It's a Schrodinger's dragonfly. The main reason I want to do an insect is because I'm pretty sure we just don't have any bug type starter Pokemon. And guys, bug type isn't that weak. We have some absolute beasts with the bug type, so I'm gonna try add to that. My first attempt again was kinda trash, so I scrapped it. Lately, starter Pokemon have been given some kind of profession or hobby or whatever kind of basis, so I'm using that design philosophy to help out my own starters. The panda is like this hypnotist kind of guy, and for my dragonfly, I'm thinking breakdancer. Like all these photos I see of the marsh glider have it sticking its thorax in the air and almost like doing a handstand, so let's replicate that in a very fun way. So yeah, I tried a couple of very different design directions that didn't really hit, but eventually, as I normally do, I struck gold. I finally got the body down and gave it these really cute little boots so it can do its sick moves in peace. I try my best when making starter Pokemon to have them grounded, so like my fish starter from 2017 is something I don't think I would ever do again. Dragonflies can obviously fly, but I like to imagine that in-game these little guys would be hopping around, alternating its legs with each move it busts. I don't know dancing terms, so hopefully that was correct. I made sure to have its design features be kinda chunky so that it definitely looked like a first stage starter. It's a little more complex than previous starters, but I think if I color it right, then it won't get too complicated to look at. The last thing I had real trouble with were the eyes. Those two big old dots are fun, but they make the face look very, very flat, and I can't have that for my starters. I then tried something almost Fennekin-like, and I truly tried to convince myself that it was like cute and stuff, but who am I kidding? It's not hitting. I ain't quite there yet. Eventually, I settled on these little beans, which actually are very cute, and are more of a refined version of the first eyes I drew. I also shortened its antennae because I just thought they looked a bit goofy and not really like something Game Freak would draw on a starter Pokemon in 2026. Finally, the water starter. I don't know why I turned French, but the water starter. This one's gonna be a snake. We already have a snake, being Snivy's line, and I can't think of any others, but if there are any others, then just let me know, because I tend to forget about starter Pokemon. Now, us Fakemon fans, we've been in the trenches. We've seen time and time again the fire snake starter, Chinese zodiac and all that stuff. Well, it's over. We ain't there anymore. Fuecoco freed us from our chains. Thank you, Fuecoco. So now it is time for water snake, which is an actual thing too. Sea snakes are highly venomous creatures, which is why I think it is a great opportunity to have a water poison starter. If the panda is a guru and the dragonfly is a breakdancer, then I might have the snake be like, I don't know, a model or something. What an odd group of friends we've brought together. This was by far the easiest one to design in the whole trio. It only took like 40 minutes to make, which I know sounds like a long time, but the others took like an hour and a half, so I'm just very happy we've made it this far. Originally, the tail was going to be up front, but I didn't like how it looked, and the composition of the whole creature just became a bit wonky from it. Like, I'm just waiting for it to fall over, if that makes any sense at all. It's unbalanced. That's the word, it's unbalanced. A Libra in crisis. So I flipped it all around, and honestly, I wish I left it here because that actually doesn't look too bad. But you know me, I couldn't help myself. I shifted it around a little more and I altered the depth of each part of the body. It's pretty tricky to make an accurately coiled or knotted serpentine creature, especially in a cartoon style, so you know, I tried my best. The sea snake I have for reference also has a flat tail tip, I imagine for swimming purposes, so I made sure this was reflected in my design. Now, I know that the color choice seems pretty basic, but what you don't know is that this snake is not just blue. It's not turquoise, it's not lapis, it's actually cerulean. Also, I feel like the eyes look a little too beady, but I didn't fix that until the polish. But luckily for you, it's time to take a look at my final predictions for my starter Pokemon. For Pokemon, I don't know, sea and sky, I guess. First up, it is our grass starter Pandala, the panda Pokemon. It is a grass type with the Overgrow ability. It can bring Pokemon close by with its enchanting stare. It then attacks with its stone-like paws. It can use its paws to generate small amounts of psychic power, which can be used through sound. Just imagine it just clapping its paws together, giving you a big old headache. Next, we have our fire starter, Damselash, the Marsh Glider Pokemon. It is a fire bug type with the Blaze ability. It must keep dancing to keep its inner fire stoked and healthy. If it stops, it will go cold and its life will end. Dancing warms its body and gives it energy, which it uses to fly to and from its nest. And finally, it is our water starter Slithel, the sea snake Pokemon. It is a water type with the Torrent ability. It visits nearby towns and cities and uses its charm to lure people into giving it food. Slithel can swim 4 times as fast as it can move on land because its flat tail works as a flipper. What do you think of these starters? Are you a fan, or do you hope nothing like this ever gets revealed? Let me know in the comments what you think. I don't have any region predictions this time around, but every day I remain a little more hopeful that New Zealand will be picked next. I will be reacting to Pokemon Presents on my Twitch, so be sure to follow me there and tune in. I'm not watching it live because it's happening at 3 AM in Mirage Island, so if you come along, please don't spoil anything for me. I might have it in emotes only while I watch. I want to go in completely surprised. It's the best way to watch. Thank you so much for watching my video. Please subscribe to my channel. I put out new videos every single Fakemon Friday or Saturday if you live on Mirage Island, just like me. I know today is actually Wednesday, but this is a bonus video, the first of its kind. Also, a massive shout out to our lovely channel members. Thank you all so much. I really appreciate your support. You're all the plusle to my minin, the sock to my throw. Okay, it's time to see what Pokemon actually makes, and I will see you guys in a couple days.